money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make the shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger just...
Hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio. Comcast Cable Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this December 5th. We have moved into the 12th month of the year. 2013 is almost over. Thanksgiving is over. Yeah. We are done with the stuffing of the face with Thanksgiving turkey. You know, and I was just thinking.
What's that?
I didn't get nearly enough dessert this year at Thanksgiving.
You didn't get enough apple pie or pumpkin pie or what?
Maybe a little slice of pumpkin pie, but I like pumpkin pie. I should have had a lot more than that. I don't know, but the rest of the food was great. How you doing there, Bob?
I'm feeling better. As long as I can stay out of Danbury Hospital, I'll be fine.
Yeah, Bob's taking up rent in the Danbury Hospital. So we're glad that he is here. Of course, we were off the last couple of weeks. Last week was Thanksgiving. The week before was, scheduling snafu, so we were not here for that one. So we are back, though, and ready to be here all month long, right up till Christmas, and cover all these sporting events and things going on. Of course, we've missed a lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks that we will break down. I was thinking we might get a quick update on some Danbury Whaler stuff.
But I haven't been down to Whaler games, so I can't really.
So we have really no information to give you.
Right.
Other than they are playing games.
Yes. And they're having a little controversy.
And some controversy, too?
Yeah.
We don't like controversy.
No.
Well, if any of our viewers out there have any Danbury Whalers information they want to call in, 203-792-4101 is the number. Let's quick make mention Bob's show, Spotlight On, even with his stays in the hospital, is still airing. He just got awarded 5 years.
Yes, thank you.
The show's been running. So his show, Spotlight On, Tuesdays at 9, Wednesday afternoons at 12. Mike Toohey in the control room doing Expose Cinema. His show Friday nights at 9 o'clock, Wednesdays at 1. In the background, we can hear the nice reggae sounds, positive vibrations of Fatty Roots. Let's plug them because they're doing a little gig this weekend, Sunday afternoon, for anybody out there looking to get away maybe from the sports for a day and check out some music. They are playing at the Ancient Mariner in Ridgefield, who does have TVs, so you could actually check out the band and keep your eye on whatever football game you might want to be watching. But that should be good. I think I'll actually be there for that. So that is a good thing. So let's move right into the major sports scene here, Bob, and we're actually going to talk baseball first before we get to college football and all that is Auburn.
We have a lot of new signings.
Things started picking up steam here in the last week or so. I thought we were going to be coming in here talking about the A-Rod shenanigans and his staged event storming out of his, courtroom situation there. But all of a sudden, signings start happening fast and furious, and there we see the A-Rod Daily News cover. And that totally was a staged act, Bob. I mean, you're out of order, I'm out of order, everybody's out of order, throwing laptops, kicking over chairs, storming out. I'm done with this charade. Heading right over to WFAN and his man Mike Francesa doing the softball interview with him. We'll see what happens. I just can't figure out why this is taking so long. Why does it have to take so long? They give the guy evidence. He sees it all. He looks at it. What does it take so long to make any decisions on this stuff? But anyways, he's suing everybody. He's suing Bud Selig for being a coward, I think is his latest claim, that he's a coward. Can you sue somebody for being a coward, Bob?
I don't know.
I mean, it is America.
Maybe you can. Maybe in baseball.
The most litigious country in the world. I guess you could sue for anything you want. But, so that's all going on. But with that in the background, all of a sudden, some signings start taking place, and then the big signing takes place. We all figured most likely Jacoby Ellsbury was not going to be back with the Red Sox. We did not, however, think he was going to pull a Judas Damon situation
Go to the Yankees.
and follow the center fielder's footsteps right to the Bronx. And that is what happened. 7 years, 153
some 53
million, 21 per for a leadoff hitting center fielder who's missed 2 out of the last 3 years with injury. When he's on the field, he's dynamic, pretty much a 5-tool player. His power numbers were down last year, although I think he could get those back in that little ballpark they call Yankee Stadium, the house that Aroyd built. But, you know, it's kind of a big deal. The Yankees were looking to get under that luxury tax threshold,
Right.
and here they go dropping big money on Ellsbury. You know, what is with the Yankee obsession with Red Sox players?
Well, hey, look, Boggs and
Clemens, Damon, Youkilis, Ellsbury. I mean, thank God no Boston team, let alone the Red Sox, ever brings in a New York player. I mean, I don't get it. Why do Yankee fans stand for this? I would hate to have to root for Derek Jeter for one. I mean, anybody. I don't want any New York player coming to my team.
You wouldn't let Derek Jeter play
No.
out there instead of Pedroia?
I don't care how good Mariano Rivera is. I don't want him on my team. I don't want any of those New York guys coming to my team. Why do Yankee fans, you know, turn so fast? I mean, I remember the vile chants they threw at Johnny Damon. I heard them firsthand in the bleachers. And then they turned those chants to cheers right away. He's our guy now. We love him. I mean, it's so phony. It's ridiculous. And the Yankees fleeced their fans into rooting for Red Sox players. Red Sox champions, nonetheless. A two-time champion in Ellsbury. So, you know, they put out these big, long-term deals, which really have not been good in major leagues for most people. I mean, he's 30 years old. As I mentioned, he's missed 2 of the last 3 years with injury. He's fragile.
Yeah.
And he played the last month or so of the season on one foot. He had a foot injury at the end of this season. Hey, good luck with that. And you Yankee fans can sleep well knowing that you're a bunch of phonies and you're rooting for the Red Sox
they had
champion.
the big press conference today for
Brian McCann. That's a good signing. I mean, that's a guy, you know, he's not from a rival team.
No, he's
whatever. They needed a catcher.
From Atlanta, so he's
all-star caliber catcher. That's a good signing for them. Speaking of catchers, the Red Sox let Salty go. No more Salty dogs for the Red Sox. They bring in A.J. Perninsky. He seems to be the type of guy who could fit in with the Red Sox.
He was good back when he played with the Pirates and
the White Sox, and he had a good year with the Rangers last year. He's been a little bit of a head case at times, so we'll see how he fits in. You know, I would just like for once, you know, it would be great to live like way back in the 50s or 60s when.
You mean where the teams stayed together?
You know, no wonder the Yankees had a dynasty back then and they won all those World Series because there was no free agency. The teams just stayed together. Now it's like the teams win and you break them up. I want to go watch the defending champs defend their title. Well, the guys aren't even, you know, a lot of the guys won't even be there. That's what happened in 2004. They let a bunch of guys go. Thankfully, they regrouped and got new guys in and won again in 2007 and now in 2013. So the Red Sox have their way, they do it, but it would be nice to see the defending champs actually line up to defend the title with their guys. But not in this day and age. It doesn't happen. Yankees let Phil Hughes walk. He goes to Minnesota. Of course, they're working on this Robbie Cano deal. They're drawing these hard lines in the sand on, you know, tough negotiations with him, and Seattle is putting the pressure on.
Well, Seattle can got more money to spend.
I guess so. Does he want to go out to Seattle and play there? Does Jay-Z's first big deal want to be sending a New York player to Seattle? Small market, but 10 years, $250 million or something? 200, I forget what the offer was today.
236 was today, but
big offer they're putting on the table, so he could go. Not sure how that's going to work out. Big trade, I thought, was Prince Fielder. The Tigers rid themselves of that contract, traded to a guy that I like a lot, Ian Kinsler, second baseman for the Texas Rangers. I don't know if that trade is going to go over well with the Ranger fans, but that went down. And those moral standard St. Louis Cardinals pushed that aside, signed the steroid-using Johnny Peralta.
yes.
No worries there. The moral high ground is no longer in place for the Redbirds as they go out and get Peralta. Doug Fister ends up going to the Nationals. That's a sneaky little move by the Nats. He's a good, solid pitcher. The A's go out and get Jim Johnson, a good closer, and Scott Kazmir. I didn't even know, did he play last year anywhere?
I don't think he did.
So some of those moves going down, some other moves have been happening. So there has been activity. Obviously, Ellsbury was the big deal this year. You see over my shoulder, there he is, Judas Damon in sight. And now Ellsbury follows in his footsteps to the pinstripes to Yankee Stadium.
Unfortunately, my Mets, we're not doing anything as of yet.
Not yet. Grandy, man, perhaps
Maybe.
taking him out to steak dinners, wheeling and dealing, but nothing be getting done. I don't know. I don't have any faith in the Mets signing
I heard
anybody.
Murphy might be going to either Yankees or the Red Sox.
Oh, really? I don't know. We shall
There
find
was some
out.
talk
One thing is
today.
for sure, when Ellsbury makes his return to Boston, he will hear the boos. No doubt about it. Trader, you can go anywhere you want, but you cannot go to New York, and he will get booed handily.
Wait till a Red Sox Yankee game in Yankee Stadium.
You know, when the Red Sox win, it's not necessarily a good thing. The Yankees were looking to just be a rollover team, not spend money this year.
Yeah.
Red Sox go and win the World Series. We got to sign players.
Yeah.
Let's get this done.
I've been to some Yankee Red Sox
Oh,
games, especially at Yankee Stadium, out in
yeah.
the bleachers. Ooh.
Oh, I've been there. I've seen
There's
it
some
firsthand.
interesting stuff that
I've
happens.
had a few beers thrown my way. No doubt. Those classy Yankee fans. Yeah, right. College football. Auburn stuns Bama in what was perhaps the most unbelievable finish to a game ever. This game was unbelievable. Some people who know me know that I am a sneaky, not so sneaky, but sneaky Auburn fan. So I have been pumping them early, Bob, as
Yes,
you
you
know.
have.
If you watch this show, they cracked the top 25 early in the year, and I said, interesting. Auburn back in the mix after their disaster of a season last year. Keep your eye on them. And I said they would be the team to watch that would have a chance to knock off Bama, and they get it done in stunning, absolutely stunning fashion. An unbelievable game as Auburn takes a field goal attempt from 57 yards out with 1 second left, and they return the short kick 108 yards for the winning touchdown to knock undefeated Alabama out of the championship picture and put Auburn in the mix possibly to get to that championship game. It was just really quite amazing, especially when you consider that the game had appeared to be heading to overtime,
Right.
but Saban argued that there should be 1 second put back on the clock,
yes.
and the replay went and they looked, and his player did step out of bounds with 1 second left, and it looked like they were going to go and get a legitimate chance for a Hail Mary.
Right.
Instead, they had been having so many problems with their kicker, who he ended up benching. He brings in his freshman kicker, who he says kicks 60-yarders in practice all the time, lines him up for what could have been the game-winning 57-yarder. It was a pretty good kick.
But
Actually,
just a
he
little wide.
faded a little bit to the left
Yeah.
and a little bit short. And, I believe, didn't this happen in the pros against the
Yes.
Giants?
Yeah.
Did the Saints do it, I believe it
I think
was?
Saints.
So we had seen this before, and the problem with the situation like this, if you're going to run this play, is you have a field goal unit on, not typically a punt return
Right.
unit, guys who know how to go down and tackle. So he breaks to the left, tiptoes that sideline, dodges the one guy who had a chance at him on the sideline, keeps his feet in bounds, and he is gone, Bob.
I know, he was like,
Unreal. And everybody watching this game did exactly what I did. Jumped off the couch. I jumped up. Davis! He's gone! Oh my goodness! And they win. Unbelievable game. It was a good game all the way around. A lot of crazy things happened. 4th and 1. Bama could have ended this game late in the game. He could have kicked a field goal there that probably would have ended the game too, but his kicker had missed twice already. And he didn't have the courage to put him back out there, and Auburn stuffs him to keep the game alive. Then he did try a kick after that, and he gets blocked to keep this game alive. Auburn then scores a tying touchdown on the final drive where they didn't really have that much time, and they marched down the field, run, and then he throws a little pass for 35 yards or so for the game-tying touchdown with 30 seconds left or so. So really a wild game, wild finish, and Auburn, no stranger to wild finishes, Bob. The game against Georgia before Thanksgiving set this whole thing up.
Right.
They blew the 20-point lead against Georgia with 12 minutes left. And they were at home in that game too. And they blow this 20-point lead. Georgia takes the lead with just over a minute left. And the first 3 plays of the final drive, Auburn gets knocked back 8 yards, setting up 4th and 18, Bob. Their season is about to go up in smoke. The Bama game is going to have little to no significance except for the rivalry aspect of it. And they are set for a 4th and 18 from their own 22-yard line. The QB drops back, throws not a Hail Mary, but they actually run a play, Bob, where they run a straight post right down the middle of the field. 2 Georgia defenders there. They collide, tip the ball up in the air, and the Auburn player comes down with the tipped batted ball and runs it into the end zone for an 88 or 78-yard touchdown to win the game. 2 weeks in a row they do this. Unreal finishes for Auburn. So now the big debate is, can they get into the championship game over an undefeated Ohio State team who everybody thinks is not impressive? They beat Michigan when Michigan went for 2 on Saturday before that Auburn game in what was a great game too. But Michigan, as we know, is not good. The Big Ten is not good.
No.
Michigan had scored like 45 points in a 4-game stretch. They did that against Ohio State in 1 game.
Right.
So Ohio State does not look legitimate with their undefeated record going against the so-called soft Big Ten schedule. No good teams in the Big Ten this year, and really the last 2 years. They will hopefully get their toughest test. Michigan State, the Spartans, do have a chance still to knock them off. Spartans at least play some defense.
This is true.
I don't know if they play enough offense, however, to get past Ohio State. So, I mean, ultimately, I will have to say, if they get past Michigan State, they remain undefeated. I just don't see how you're going to be able to get Auburn in that game with their 1 loss, even though they knocked off Bama. Florida State, we know, is a legitimate number 2, and especially now today the news comes out that famous Jameis is not going to be charged with rape.
Yes.
I guess that's good news.
Yes.
So no concern that he'll be suspended. So it should, could end up being Florida State versus Ohio State with 2 undefeateds. But if Michigan State can pull the upset, then they become 12-1 as well, Bob. And where do they fit into the whole thing? They're going to be left out, and we're going to have to deal with the whole BCS is a joke. Next year is finally the playoff. It's going to be a year too late because, the Spartans are going to have a good argument to be in there. Auburn, obviously, and Missouri. What if Missouri wins? What if Missouri beats Auburn?
Right.
They've only got 1 loss. And there's the argument about the SEC, Bob. Everybody says if you play the SEC schedule, you'll never have the success. You can't, these teams from other conferences, if they go in that SEC, they'll never have the success. Last time I checked, Missouri's a Big 12 team, Bob.
Right.
They just came into the SEC. They're playing for the SEC championship with 1 loss. And Texas A&M last year did the same thing.
Right.
So and Texas A&M and Missouri, by the way, not your typical top-tier Big 12 teams. So they came into the NCC, and they have done quite well in their 2 years. So I think that argument, SEC obviously top-heavy at times, especially with Alabama, LSU sometimes, maybe not this year, Auburn. But, Florida's terrible this year. Those other teams, bottom of the league, they get beat up all the time. So I don't know. I think there's, that argument sometimes doesn't carry as much weight. All right, let's move to NFL. We're about 10 minutes away from ending the show. A lot of things going on in the NFL right now. I will say right here, right now, the team that is clearly, to me, and it's early yet, but the way that things are situated and the way home field is starting to play out and where the Super Bowl is being played, the Seattle Seahawks, Bob, they are set to go not only to the Super Bowl, but I think to win the Super Bowl with the way the conditions are going to be and the way things are. Their defense, their style of play, Russell Wilson, the way he's playing, they've got a running attack, they got receivers that can make plays, and the defense, as we mentioned. But they are going to be home for the holidays and home for the playoffs as they just smacked down those soft, not marching Saints to the Northwest as
true.
they rolled up and died in that rainy, cold evening out there in Seattle on Monday night, which basically all but clinched home field advantage for the Seattle Seahawks when the playoffs do begin. They do have a game against the Niners this weekend, but the Niners are 8-4.
Right.
Seahawks are 11-1. They got too big of a lead. It doesn't even matter. I don't think the Niners beat them. So, that is the big situation right there. Big picture. AFC, Patriots wild shootout with the Texans after their crazy 2 weeks of games where they had the unbelievable rally down 24-0
And then
at
big
halftime
comeback.
against the Broncos. But they do rally in the cold, chilly night in Foxborough, coming back in overtime to beat Denver in a wild, wild game. And Peyton Manning went cold again in the frigid temperatures. And Wes Welker came back to return, and he could not get it done against his old team. First, it was the drop passes started happening in the second half of that game, and then they put him in punt return, and he blew the coverage, stepped back from the punt, and didn't call off his player who got hit by the ball, and the Patriots picked it up and kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime. So great win for the Patriots there. The week before that, of course, was the big controversy against the Panthers. People still talking about that game, and that game has big significance because the Patriots would be 10-2 if they called that penalty in the end zone against Gronk. Give me a break, NFL. Why? This is the thing that makes me mad about that. We know that they got the call wrong, Bob. Everybody knows that. We also know that in the past, the NFL has admitted when the refs get the call wrong. Why, in this case, would the NFL come out and defend the refs and say they did not get it wrong? Everybody knows they got it wrong. Why compound the issue? That is shady to me. That makes it seem like there's something bigger at play here. And that's where, people just start saying the game's fixed. What's the deal? You can't do that. You have to come out and say they blew the call. It was obviously pass interference in the end zone. Should have been first and goal. One more play for the Patriots at the 1-yard line trying to win that game. But we move on from that. Broncos 10-2 and in charge in the AFC right now, in charge of their own destiny in the AFC after they beat the Chiefs. Have not been hearing much from former Director Evil, that is Kevin Gallagher, or Fatty Roots for that matter. Actually, I have been hearing from Fatty Roots cursing up a storm, texting me the last few weeks as his Chevys not cooking with gas now.
The gas is kind of like leaking out.
I'm looking for some good KC barbecue. They're not giving it to me right now. So they got problems as they've lost 3 in a row, and they head to Washington this weekend.
How about those hapless Jets?
Hapless Jets, they were, when we were here last, in prime position, total control of the wild card. Not so much anymore, Bob, as they have gone ice cold, getting crushed by the Dolphins this past week.
The other night, I heard they're saying, we're looking for a quarterback. Anybody who just...
Matt Sims, right?
Yeah. Anybody to come in and just throw the ball.
They stick with Geno Smith. Will be back going for Geno time. The sad thing is with the AFC in that wild card situation, they're still only a game out, and they could still get back in. One win in the NFL gets things back on track. They're 5-7. Wild card lead is with the Ravens and the Dolphins right now at 6-6 for that final spot. So they are in the mix with the Chargers, Steelers, and Titans also at 5-7. Chiefs right now with that other one, they've got that wild card wrapped up at 9-3, even though they're struggling. Bengals and Colts right behind the Patriots for that number 2 seed. Patriots are looking to hold on and secure a bye week and home field advantage at least for the first round, as the Bengals and Colts 8-4. Colts not playing well at all since Reggie Wayne went down. Their offense struggling. Trent Richardson now getting benched basically. So that's not good in the AFC. NFC, we mentioned Seahawks, Saints right behind them, but the Panthers are now tied with them with their 8-game winning streak. So the Panthers could move into that 2 spot. They play those Saints this weekend, tied at 9-3. Eagles and Cowboys tied at 7-5. Lions clinging to a lead there over the Bears, and the Packers falling apart with that Rodgers injury at 7-5. Packers fans braving the weather. The chicks are out there, Bob. We see them in the bikinis for the Green Bay, looking good. Cardinals look to be the odd team out right now at 7-5, behind the 49ers at 8-4, but they are still a team that has played well, so they could maybe get back in.
My G-men they won this weekend, but it don't
Big
matter.
loss to the Cowboys as Tony Romo got it done in crunch time, let
Yeah.
them down for that game-winning field goal. Pretty much ended your G-men season.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
ended up beating Washington this past week, but
in a game that nobody cares
care
about.
about.
I mean, really, the Redskins.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, we don't have much time. Let's do a little quick talk about NCAA basketball. I mean, I did want to talk NBA and NHL. Bruins at Canadians tonight.
Yeah.
Bruins are 38, Canadians 37 point-wise,
Right.
so that's a big game as they are atop their division. And, of course, first game between these two rivals on the season. Red Wings in third place. Why are the Red Wings playing in the Eastern Conference, Bob?
I had no idea.
I did enjoy a little Bruins Rangers game comeback
Yes.
against those Rangers on Friday.
That was a good game.
That was a good game. But Eastern Conference in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
Ay. Only 2 teams over 500, Bob.
I know. That's a very bad.
Celtics are in first place at 8-12. We haven't done a show in 3 weeks, Bob.
I know.
The Knicks have not won a game in 3 weeks.
Neither has the Nets.
The Nets, I think, won 1.
Oh.
And the 2 teams play tonight, so somebody's going to have to win.
Oh no, it's going to end in a tie.
Nets are 5-13. Knicks, Brick City,
City.
baby. Lost 9 straight. They are 3-13. Melo calls them a laughingstock.
He wants to go. He wants to go bye-bye.
Wow.
He wants to go back to.
Wow. We'll get more into the NBA next week. College basketball, UConn 8-0. Not getting nearly the love that I want from the pollsters. Why is this team only ranked number 12, Bob? Give me a break.
That game against Florida was a
I
game.
mean, you beat Maryland, you beat Boston College, you beat Indiana, you beat Florida. How about a little love? You're 8-0. You got the best, I say the best backcourt, because I include experience when we talk about these things. Best backcourt in the country, Shabazz Napier, Ryan Boatwright, and Napier with the buzzer beater against Florida the other night in a thriller. They beat Maryland 78-77 early, BC 72-70 in a tournament, Indiana 59-58. They're the cardiac kids, Bob. They win these close games.
Yes.
Florida 65-64 at the buzzer. They're getting it done. They got Stanford and Washington coming up in the next week or so. And I just got tickets to the game at Bridgeport between the week of Christmas and New Year's. Eastern Washington, I believe, a lesser team coming to town, but still they're playing locally close by at Bridgeport. So I'm looking forward to that game. They're getting it done, Bob. They are playing well. North Carolina last night did knock off Michigan State, the Spartans, who were number 1. They will fall. Arizona, I guess, will be in position to move up to number 1 as they are 8-0. Duke's got 2 losses, Bob. They're still top 10. We're 8-0, Bob. Top 10, baby. Where's the top 10? Come on, give me a break. Kentucky's 3, Syracuse's 4, Ohio State 5, Kansas, Louisville, Wisconsin, OK State, Duke wrap up the top 10. All right, we will be back next week to talk more about all the sports and see what's happening. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you then.
Take care, guys.